Okay, so you guys are live now. Over to you guys.
All right, welcome everybody to today's session. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. You're welcome to the grand finale of our guided circle challenge by the Wali University under the Wali Fellowship. So let's have an opening prayer so that we can kick off the meeting. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, sustainer of the world, master of the day of judgment, we thank you for the blessing of today, and we thank you for the opportunity that Wali Lab provided to us, and we pray that we get the best out of it. Amen. Oh, my name is Nashita Denaswiba, and I'm an associate mentor under the cohort 3 fellowship. So today we are going to have we are having a part 2 or a second session of our guided circle challenge that was an initiative by the Wali Lab, particularly the first of its kind for the fellowship, whereby we had a session on Wednesday, that was 2 days ago, among the mentees that were combined into different groups. These mentees came from both the STEM and the SHAPE department so that they can discuss and develop good ideas that are backed up by evidence to solve real life problems. So the theme for this challenge was youth unemployment and skills mismatch. So we had mentees opposing this and then mentees supporting this. So we had 5 groups under which we had a pair of the supporting side and then the opposing side. So the mentees engaged, and we had results that you're all seeing on the screen. So we had to pick one supporting group that emerged the best, and then one opposing group that emerged the best. So the opposing group strongly mentioned that youth unemployment, skills mismatch is the main cause of youth unemployment. Yes. And then the opposing side strongly disagreed with that it is not the skills mismatch that is bringing unemployment to the youth. So today we want to listen to these 2 groups that emerged the best out of the others. We want to listen to them and know, is it true that skills mismatch is the cause of youth unemployment, or the vice versa? So I'll invite my co-moderator to continue with the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session today. My name is Mojid Muslima, and I'll be co-moderating this session. And just a quick one, I'm going to introduce the presenters here today. Just like my colleague has said, we had about 10 teams, right? And just 2 qualified for this round. And right now we'll be asking them quite a few questions to see if youth employment is as a result of skill mismatch or not. And the supporting team, which is Africa Catalyst, we have Gideon and Veronica here on the call. And also for the Next Gen Kijana, we have Jude and Timilane. So just a quick one, we are going to start with it's going to be interactive, right? So I'll be throwing questions to the supporting and the opposing team, and they'll be enlightening us on the question being asked. So the first one, are you with us? Can I go ahead now, the team? Are you with us? Gideon, are you ready for us? All right. So my first question is skill mismatch truly the is skill mismatch truly the biggest cause of youth unemployment in Nigeria? Or is it simply being used to shift attention away from the government inability to create enough jobs? I'll come again. Is skill mismatch truly the biggest cause of youth unemployment in Nigeria? Or is it simply being used to shift attention away from the government inability to create enough jobs? So I would want you to go ahead and answer the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that question. Good evening, everyone from Nigeria. So just like we said during the debate, we actually supported the motion. Skill mismatch is the biggest cause of unemployment across Africa. And for me to actually, for Nigeria to be precise, I think skill mismatch is actually the biggest cause of unemployment in this nation. Now look at it, we have a lot of graduates that are not employable. I've met a number of graduates in Nigeria in this age and time that don't know how to use a system. It's kind of surprising. A graduate cannot use MS Word. At least I think even if you didn't go to the university, you should be able to use the computer to do basic things. They don't know how to send a formal email. They don't know how to communicate. These are basic minor skills that are required in all sector, either formal or informal sector. You should be able to do some things. And then all we have are people with papers. And this is not what industry is looking for. I've been opportunity to take a number of interviews with a number of organizations. And lately, most of what those organizations ask are not, in fact, I attended some interviews because they've seen my CV. They hardly ask about my educational background again. They only ask, how do you intend to solve this problem? Have you been able to do this in the past? Okay, we have a scenario like this. Without practical skills, without experience, how will one address such problem? So the world have shifted from what we know before, which was just go to school, get a certificate, and then come, and then we'll fix you. I don't think that is the case now because people are asking questions. We are growing every day. Look at how the technology is going so fast. People that were once good with typewriting are not relevant today. So it means it's not even just the issue of having skills. You have to have the required skills that are needed for this age and time. Every day technology is going. People are changing. Things are changing. The world is moving so fast. You can't even rely on the skills that you have. You have to be upgrading every day. So I put it to us that skill mismatch is the major cause of unemployment in Nigeria. Because aside from the fact that we don't even have skills, a lot of us have refused to grow from what we used to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gideon, for that. So Gideon is telling us that technology keeps advancing every day. It is no longer go to school, get a certificate, and we get you the job. It goes beyond, having the certificate. It goes beyond having to go to school. You need to gain extra skills for you to be able to get that job. So now, to the opposing team, we would like to hear from you, and I'll be repeating the question. Is skill mismatch truly the biggest cause of youth unemployment in Nigeria, or is it simply being used to shift attention away from government inability to create enough jobs? Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you for that question. Sorry, please, can you all hear me?
Please go ahead. You're audible.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for that question. And to everyone watching this live stream, globally across the continent, every single person, thank you so much for listening. First of all, I'm going to actually say that We've actually been told this comforting story that, if our youths get, more skilled, if they get more degree, just try to get one more certificate, then maybe the problem of unemployment can actually vanish, right? And I'm here to say that that is a flaw. This story is a flaw. So I'm opposing what Gideon is saying, and that's because, few hours ago, actually, I was on a call with someone, and this person said one of the problems he thinks we have in Nigeria and in Africa itself is that we end up focusing on a lot of skills, right? I'm in the tech space, and as a tech person, you have to know this and that, because you're not sure when a particular skill will be needed to solve a problem. And the person feels like that is one of our issues, because in the Western world, a lot of, it's very, very important for you to actually focus on a particular skill. And that's not the reality of we in Africa. And that's why he thinks it is a problem. So he sees the fact that in Africa, we have the problem of trying to gain a lot of skills. And then my opponent is saying that we are not skilled enough. These are already conflicting. And I am very, very, I'm going to stand on the motion that it is not true that skills mismatch is the root cause of unemployment in Africa. Yes, my opponents mentioned, you go to school and you don't even know how to operate computer and all of that. That is a process problem, right? That is why I would say skills mismatch is just a symptom, is a part of, it's just a sign of, an issue, right? It is not the main issue. It is not the main disease. And what is the disease? The main issue, the root cause of the issue right now is that there are simply not enough jobs for the youth. You cannot say, okay, you expect that, a lot of, let's say 10 million persons are leaving school, are graduating this year, and you can't give me the data that there are 10 million jobs available for them. If you cannot give me this data, then how exactly would you say that these persons are not skilled enough, to actually get into your sector or get into your organization? So I'm still standing on the fact that the jobs are not enough. And this is a macroeconomic problem. We need to find a way to create more jobs for these guys, right? And there are a lot of data, but I'm going to just focus on that of South Africa and maybe Nigeria. The South Africa, unemployment in South Africa has hit about 60.9%, right? And one of the issue is that this is a verified data, actually. And one of the issues is that the economy's structural absorption capacity for these young people, for the youth, is still sitting on around 10.1%. That is already evidence that we have an economic problem that cannot solve, that cannot absorb these people, these youth. So until we actually try to solve that problem, in Nigeria, the statistic is that we have 93% of workers. Now, these workers are actually the informal sector, which means they are not actually, in the formal sector where they actually do, these jobs that actually require the high skills and all of that. And then these people are actually just taking menial jobs because, of course, poverty is real and they really do not, want to stay poor. They are trying not to be idle and all of that. So they settle for the less. So if there are not enough fish in the ocean, then what exactly are we saying our youth should fish from? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Timileyin. So Timileyin is telling us now that the root cause of it is unavailability of jobs. We don't have enough jobs for the youth. Now, this is going to lead me to another question. right? And in Nigeria, when we look at some job roles, we see entry level. Sometimes entry level will be 2 to 3 years experience, 3 to 4 years experience, and then you just graduating from uni, you don't have any experience, right? So you just look at it. How am I supposed to apply for this? So now it brings me to the questions. Many employers, they demand years of experience for entry level roles. Is the real problem a skill mismatch now or unrealistic hiring expectations? So I'm going to come again. Many employers demand years of experience for entry level roles. Is the real problem now a skill mismatch or unrealistic hiring expectations? Gideon, you can go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. So for that question, I still think it is a problem with skill mismatch because when you check it out, our school, our educational system is supposed to have addressed a lot of skills and practical experience based situation, but that is not what we are having. So a lot of schools tend to focus on theories. You see a mechanical engineer, his car breaks down, and he's looking for a mechanic. So how do you explain that? So that's why even entry rules are looking for people that are skilled already in doing these things. So our curriculum is supposed to kind of have addressed that. We have those things on paper, but we don't have them on reality. And I think that is where the challenge is. So in schools, we have a period of silence, but what do students actually learn at the end of the day? A lot of them go to the industry again, and then they come back the same way. In fact, a lot of students goes for sideways or IT, and they don't actually learn anything. It's all about you making yourself relevant. When you go for sideways, do you actually know what you are going to go and do there? I was looking at a program recently that was advertised. I think it has to do with grant writing for research and other things. And then the first thing that people were asking the person, the mentor that was putting that out was, are we going to get certificates at the end of the program? So that is how we have designed our mentality. We are just after acquiring certificates. Certificate without experience is not really going to take you anywhere. So even at entry levels, if they don't have candidates at that level, they will not be advertising for that role. I keep on telling a lot of young people, what makes you different? In Nigeria today, we have let's assume we have 500 graduates from computer science, assuming from the whole of the country. What makes you different from every other person? Because all of them have that same certificate. Some have first class, some have 2-1, some have 2-2, depending. So it means that you're only, what gives you an edge over others is your ability to gain skills. So even at entry level, normally, even if you were to be a recruiter today, you have 100 candidates who come in for an entry role. They all have the certificate. What will you use to kind of differentiate between this and that person? The extra things that this person can do. And these are skills. And thank God for technology today. You can learn a lot of things online. But some of us are, will I say, lazy, or we've not really getting to that place where we are ready to work. A lot of people don't want to push themselves. We've programmed ourselves to just go to school. When I finish from school, I'll get a work. But I think the industry has gone beyond that. And we need to augment our degree certificate by looking for the right skills, which are not most often time gotten in our educational system. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank So, Timilein, you to take it now.
Yes. I am going to ask my opponent also a question, and it is, if you think, okay, the university curriculum is, one of our root cause issue, then are you saying that if we update this curriculum tomorrow, say every university, every private, federal, every single university tries to update their curriculum tomorrow, where exactly are the factories that would employ them? Where are the tech companies that would employ the millions and millions of software developers? You see, curriculum development without an actual policy, a policy that would refine a system that would produce highly skilled, people. It really does not actually solve the problem, right? So if we end up focusing on the curriculum and then we are actually not providing, like I said, like I said before, you say that, okay, everybody should go and fish in the ocean, but you really do not have enough fish to cater for the number of persons. So how exactly do you measure that we have a skill mismatch? And also, as an instructor, if I'm a tech instructor before now, I can testify to the number of enthusiasts that we have in Africa. These are people that they juggle going to school and, looking for one skill or the other. And that is because everyone is already enlightened enough to know that apart from the school curriculum, you have to get one skill or the other. And when I say everyone, I mean like everyone is enlightened enough. Gone are those days when, we have people that really do not know how to operate computers and all of that. Schools are trying as much as possible to advance. I'm sure they can do better. But individuals themselves are trying so much to upskill. They are putting in the best. A software developer right now is trying to also put in the skill as a DevOps engineer. And you see, AI is here now. So which means the same person is trying to see how he or she can accommodate AI and automation into the already acquired skills. Why? Because we all want to stay relevant in the market, right? And that is the mindset that I've seen in the hearts of a lot of Africans. But it's so funny because a lot of them are still jobless. And, everybody ends up believing that someday, miracle is going to happen. And of course, there's an adage that says that, okay, an opportunity should meet you ready. And so everyone is trying right now to get ready. And that is upskilling. Taking one skill, taking the other. That is why I gave the other example that someone said, our problem in Africa is that we have a lot of skills instead of actually trying to focus on one. But then we can't even afford to because we are not even sure where one of the various skills we have is going to be needed in, this industry, both in and out of Nigeria. So upskilling is not our problem. Upskilling is not, it's just a symptom, it's just a sign of the major problem. The major problem still lies in our economy. It still lies in the fact that we do not have enough jobs. It still lies in the fact that even when there are enough jobs, right? HRs come with, they put up, say, an entry-level position for, say, a cybersecurity engineer, and the compensation could be something around 100 to 150,000 naira, and they tell you that you are expected to have, a lot of skills, and then they list some certifications like CISSP, CISM, and all of that. For those in the cybersecurity sector, that for you to have this certification, these certifications, in fact, you even just pay for them, it's close to $1,000, right? And combining with trainings and all of that. And now HRs put up, this job advertisement, and then they put unrealistic skills and responsibility with a kind of compensation that does not match what is required. But the funny fact is that when you look at a lot of Africans today, this fact does not still, shape them to try to shrink, right? They still try as much as possible to upskill just so that they can get their foot on the door of employment. And they are still not. So I am back to the fact that, and I'm standing on the fact that with all of the evidences I have stated, that skills mismatch is not the main cause. The main cause is our economic problem and the fact that there are not enough jobs to cater for the skilled youth that I know we have in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Timilein. Okay, I hope we are enjoying this conversation because I am. I am listening to both parties. I'm kind of wondering what is happening, and I could relate to one of the things Timilein mentioned about HR giving putting unrealistic roles and responsibilities in job offers. I could remember seeing one recently, associate PM role, and I can see 2 to 3 years experience. If you're looking for associate PM, why are you adding 2 to 3 years experience? For someone who has the skill as an entry level person, or as you looking for an entry level role and you're still asking for 2 to 3 years experience, seems unrealistic. It doesn't seem like we don't have the skill, but somehow we don't have the years of experience. So now it's going to lead me to my question, right? Before we look at the questions some of us have, some of our listeners have, I'll be asking these questions. We've been mentioning things about, AI, mentioning things about, okay, learning a lot of skills, being a tech savvy and all that. And now we know that we have quite a number of Nigerians that are learning tech skills. I mean, they are learning tech, digital marketing, and other in-demand skills. Yet, youth employment still remain very high. So, does acquiring more skills now actually guarantee employment? This is my question now. We've been talking about, gaining a lot of skills, learning tech, learning this, learning that. And we have Nigerians that they are deeply learning this. They're learning tech, they're learning digital marketing, yet youth unemployment still remain high. Now, does acquiring more skills actually guarantee employment in Nigeria? Gideon, over to you.
Well, thank you very much for that question. So let me put it straight. Acquiring more skills doesn't actually guarantee employment in Nigeria and across Africa. The reason is because in the case of Nigeria, a lot of people are doing a lot of things. It goes back to that common saying that say jack of all trades and then master of none. You see people today they say, data science, data analysis is giving money, is trending. Everybody is wanting to go and learn data analysis. Before that same person finished learning data analysis, they say cybersecurity is switching again to cybersecurity. So we have a lot of people that have learned a lot of things, but they've not mastered any. They've not become authorities in any. I belong to a mentorship acceleration group for Africa, AIMS4A, where they train young youths into all these tech skills. So this is our second cohort. And then after the first cohort, it was realized that a lot of people came back again to apply for different courses. So they said they will not actually give them admission because you need to even put into practice the one you've learned first. And I bet you over 80%, out of hundreds that learn that tech skill, we don't have up to 20 that have put that into practice because we're in the alumni group now. We've tried to kind of come up with conversation to know at what level people are right now in their own tech journey. A lot of people keep on shying away from that conversation. In fact, somebody messaged me sometimes this year when I did some data analysis work and was like, so you are still into data analysis? Wow. Like since when I finished that course, I just dumped everything. And that is our situation. So we just want to learn a lot of things. We just want to have a lot of things on our CV. Oh, I did this one. I can do marketing. I can do content. But you are not really an authority. And people pay for value. So when you become an authority, if the thing should be, when we are looking for a data scientist, can you be the person? If you Google your name now, what tech skill, what are the information that we're going to get about you? So you need to become a master at a particular thing. Have a niche. Let you be known for something. It is that thing that you'll be rewarded for. So it is not the issue of getting more skills. It is the issue of becoming a master in a particular skill. And then like my opponent said, and I want to make her understand something. We don't need to wait for governments to give us jobs, because they've been saying that it's because there are limited jobs that people are not employed. But what we are saying is with the right skills, you can gain employment. And if we're talking of tech skills with the time that we are in, jobs are not tied down to a particular location. We have a lot of people that are in Nigeria, but they are working outside Nigeria because they have the relevant skills. So it is no longer an era whereby you need to work in Nigeria. No, it means that your job is not restricted to a particular location. So it is not the issue of government needs to create more jobs. No, ma. If you have the right skill today, USA will be looking for you. In Europe, you will be needed. In Ghana, they will be sending stuff for you to do. That is what it is. In fact, we are in this call today because of the right skills have been put in place. Wale University is an online university. Without the right skills, without the right resources, without the right mindset, people thinking like that, will have been waiting for the conventional university, which we knew before. And how many of us will have been able to access that? So we've gone beyond that. With the right skill, I believe you become a master, but you don't need so many skills at a time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gideon. You could be jack of all trades and you might not have one skill that you have mastered that can give you that job. Thank you so much for that, Gideon. So over to you, Timilen. What do you have for us? Do you think acquiring more skills actually, guarantee employment for us, looking at the situation of Nigeria or Africa at large?
Okay. Thank you so much. I am going to actually, Gideon mentioned three different points, right? The first one, he said you need to master a skill and you need to actually practice your skill. So I am back to the question I asked before. Where exactly are the jobs to help individuals master their skills? If there are no jobs, how exactly do you need individuals to master their skills? Okay, he mentioned, the tech sector. A lot of persons in tech actually try to master their skills by creating, simulating labs, to mimic what it's going to look like in the real world, in a job, right? In an organization. But I mean, it is not enough if they don't have these jobs, these real jobs. So in the case where there are no jobs, how exactly do we expect individuals to master these skills, to practice these skills? Our problem in Africa is not upskilling. Now, Gideon also mentioned the fact that, a lot of persons try to learn this, try to learn that. And I'm so very happy he had to mention the tech space. And that's because I have been in tech for a while, and I know very well how tech is so related. Data analysis is so related to cybersecurity, related to software development, related to DevOps and all of that, related to even project management itself. Right now, a lot of persons in Africa end up taking this skill and picking up the next one because as at the time when they picked up the first skill, there was no job available to actually help them to master it. So they hope that, I mean, this is AI time now, right? So it means everyone is trying to add AI to what they are doing at the moment, right? I mean, there's already there's this talk that says that, oh, AI will take your job if you try to, stay behind and all of that. So in everything everyone is doing, be it being an ethical hacker, anything at all, you're trying to add AI to it just so that you don't stay behind, right? So you are adding another AI skill to your already existing skill. I don't see that as a problem. The major problem here is that we do not have the jobs to help people master these skills. If when I started my journey as a data analyst and I got a job there, if I need to, in that profession, if I need to, pick up another skill, it would most likely be a skill that I have seen that it would help my career as a data analyst. So upskilling is good. We are doing that already, but we don't even have the jobs. Next, Gideon mentioned that there are a lot of people, in Nigeria, in Africa, that are employable by companies out of the countries. And he mentioned also that, some persons end up picking content creation, this and that, and all of that. You see, for those of us in the tech world, we understand that one of the ways you can actually, get your foot in the door of these jobs outside the country is by doing a lot of networking. And I don't mean networking where I don't mean only the ones where you actually have to see people, right? You have to do the networking of knowing how to write, knowing how to put yourself out there. I think we call it social advertising. So it means you have to be able to let the world see your skills. And how do you do it? You post, and that is writing. So it is one of the reasons why people had to take up some more skills, content creation, technical writing, and all of that. And these are some of the skills that actually helped these individuals to get their job. So which means we have the skill already. Now, also, Gideon mentioned Wale University. Honestly, I'm really very happy he mentioned Wale University because Wale University is a global platform, right? And it is a platform that has given us, this opportunity. The keyword, opportunity. This opportunity can also be jobs. We all are here. I am a fellow in Wale Lab. Gideon is a fellow in Wale Lab. A lot of over hundreds of us, are fellows in Wale Lab. But there was a platform before we became fellows. So I am still back on the fact that, yes, upskilling is needed, but we already have that. That our problem still remains the fact that we do not even have the jobs to even apply even the first layer of skills that we have attained. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm enjoying this conversation. Before we even move on to the next thing, Gideon, Timileyin has been giving us back to back. Do you have something you want to contribute right before we go on to the next phase? And then I can see the whole thing going on in the comment section. Yeah, I am enjoying it, right? But then, Gideon, do you have anything for us before I go into that?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. So looking at the data and what has been happening even in the employment space, we still know that we need to get it right. The CEO of MoneyPoint, sometimes early this year, came out to say that they have like 500 vacancies in Nigeria, and they don't have people to fill up this space. There's another recent data that shows that about 80 to 90% of small businesses in sub-Saharan Africa fails within the first 5 years, while up to 50% of this enterprise don't even survive their first 12 months. And all that was tied to a kind of disconnection between great ideas and practical realities, according to Mohawk Africa. So she's saying that we don't have enough job. But what we are seeing is even the ones that we have not exhausted it. Now, how do you even explain that we don't even have enough jobs? You are saying you are hungry, I have given you food. You've not been able to eat that one that I've given you, and you're asking for more. So I think we need to be able to fill up those vacancies that are existing first before we even say, oh, there is limitations in jobs in Africa. So that's why we are still saying that we have a skill mismatch problem, because a lot of jobs are existing both within and outside Africa that we don't have people to match up those skills. There are a lot of areas that when you go into, you see that we don't have few people that are there. And that is one thing about being at the top. Once you get there, there is a lot of space because we don't have many professionals in that industry. We don't have many people that are doing that thing. In fact, even in Nigeria today, you have people that have more than one job at a time. Currently, I do a lot of things. I do different things. And the reason is because people are looking for your skills. So if you don't have the skills, how will you be able to do it? While some are there and then they are angry, oh, there is no job. Somebody has 3, 5 different jobs that they are begging him to do. When he says no, it's a problem. So I put it to her and I want her to explain how comes we have vacancies that are existing. And then there are no people, and we are saying that we should create more. I think the right thing is let's fill up the vacancies that are existing first before we start saying, oh, we need more. Because we have some. And I think until we do that, we still have a long way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I could remember the controversial, the conversation around the statement CEO of Money Point gave in one of his interviews. Yeah, I am seeing a lot happening in the comment section. And yeah, I can see one pouring investment into skills training without addressing the structural environment is like fixing the engine of a car with no road to drive on. Nice, nice. All right, I can see the conversation going on here. All right. Now we are saying, okay, skill mismatch isn't the issue, and then we're saying, okay, we don't have enough jobs. Now, this is going to bring me to my question because we don't have enough time because I could engage you for hours. There are a lot of questions, right? But then, now if we now look at it, I think most Nigerians now, the moment we graduate, the next thing is, we find ourselves learning extra skills. I mean, some of us go ahead to, learn vocational skills, learn technical skills, skills, even with this certificate. So should we now say that should we now prioritize vocational and technical education over our university degrees if the goal is to reduce youth unemployment, sorry? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to pass across? Some of us, we find ourselves learning extra things alongside with our university degree or university courses. So now we're now looking at it. Should we now prioritize vocational and technical education over university degree if the goal is to reduce youth unemployment? Gideon, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, like you rightly said, I think I had a similar challenge, and it dawned on me the first time when I went for National Youth Service in Kogi State. So, I saw that right from camp, the people that had extra skills were more valuable than the people with just a degree certificate, because some of them were immediately engaged as mentors to teach people in camp. The placement for them to go back and serve immediately after they come again was easy because they had something doing. And then when they even went back during the service year again, they had extra incomes of getting extra cash. So I think, to be honest, in Nigeria today, and I think it's going to be globally, one stream of income is not actually enough to kind of sustain somebody. It is encouraged that you have multiple streams of income. So our degree certificate is relevant. It is important because it is a long-term goal, but we should be able to have other high-paying skills. Just like I said, during that camp year, those people that had extra things doing were able to get extra income, while us that we just focus in school while we were in school, we had nothing. So I think we need to encourage our younger ones today to learn skills even while they are in school. That doesn't stop your education doesn't stop you from learning how to become a fashion designer. Doesn't stop you from learning data analysis. Doesn't stop you from learning cyber security. And I think with the coming of tech, there is a way that you can easily learn a skill that is even closely related to what you are learning in school. Part of the challenge with our educational curriculum is we have those ones where people can actually even get a lot of things. For instance, in the geography or environmental sciences space, what we call GIS. GIS is more than you gaining a certificate. It is you having a skill, because if you can do GIS, you can solve a lot of problems for a lot of people. But you see that we have a lot of graduates that study geography or environmental management that don't know how to use GIS as a tool. Research is a skill. If you know how to do research, a lot of people will look for you. A lot of people want to pay you to do things for them. But we have a lot of graduates that don't know anything about research, and they are graduates. If you ask them to conduct a project, they don't know where to start and they don't know where to end. So a lot of these are a lot of challenges for us. So I think we need to learn how to put in our skills together with our certificates. I think with that, it makes us have a perfect match for a better economy and a more comfortable life, rather than just depending on one stream of income, which we don't even know when it's good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gideon. So Gideon is telling us that while you are getting your university degree, learn in-demand skills. Just have the skills, just have the technical skills, build your soft skills as well, so that you can stay relevant, so that you can get that job, right? So, Timile, what do you have for us?
Yes, definitely. I support what Gideon said. You know, there are a lot of issues that are, surrounding, our curriculum in the educational sector. And I believe that as individuals, as students, you have to do better for yourself, which is getting, skills. During your holidays, you take one skill or the other. Of course, you take skills that actually resonate with you. And that's because, there are journeys that can actually be very tiring at a point, right? Especially when you have not even gotten that break at the door, right? So you take something that resonates with you, something that you're passionate about. There are a lot of skills out there. And when I'm saying skills, I don't mean just tech skills, right? I don't mean just the writing codes, and all of that. There are a lot of skills, even if it is, in the fashion designing, in the modeling and all of that. There are a lot of skills out there. But you take skills and combine it with your degree, and you would come out of the school, you will come out of your university, of your college, already having one or two things that are bringing you a steady income, right? And also coupled with of course, the CEO of Money Points talked about not being able to fill up some spaces. And in the same video, he also talked about the fact that that is, I mean, he gave a reason, and he said it's because a lot of skilled persons have left the country. There are a lot of streams, there are a lot of channels where the Westerners are actually grabbing the skilled ones out of the country, and there are awesome ways. And I also feel like, apart from we trying to work on upskilling, juggling school and upskilling, we should also try to work. And when I say we, I don't mean just the government, we should also try to work, everyone generally, work towards, having a better economy. However you can, work towards having a better economy, because in everything, you can most likely not entirely outsmart a situation, right? There's a lot of situation in the country, in Nigeria, and even in the continent, right? So you may not be able to outsmart this situation. So working towards having a better economy, in a lot of ways. It could be through research. You try to use your research to, enlighten the population, enlighten everyone, right? And go to school, do as much as possible, try as much as possible, get a very good grade, and add that with some other skills. And even, I mean, on your own, you would feel some kind of fulfillment with yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Timile. Thank you so much, Gideon. This conversation has been very, very insightful. So, we're telling everyone now, as you're learning, just like Gideon said, as you're getting that degree, if you have the privilege to, you have the opportunity to learn technical skills or other skills that could make you still relevant, you can also learn. And then when you now have the degree and you now have the skills, then Nigerians or the government, they don't have anything to say again regarding youth unemployment, because I now have the skills. What else do you want to say? So thank you so much. And now we are going to just a quick question. This is going to be our final question for today, right? Thank you so much for listening. Our listeners, thank you so much for staying with us through this moment. So now I know we still have the third phase where we'll be doing a solution pitch regarding this debate topic. But then I just want to ask you, if you have the opportunity, I mean, you have the power to implement only one solution to tackle youth unemployment in Nigeria. If you had the power to implement just only one solution to tackle youth unemployment in Nigeria, would you invest in skill development, entrepreneurship, or reforming the educational system in Nigeria? Your choice have the greatest impact. So I can say, as I am, maybe if I had the power to implement a solution, I will go for entrepreneurship. And why? Because I believe for you to not just being in that phase of earning salary, you want to provide job for yourself and for other people, then you could go into entrepreneurship. So I am creating job opportunities for people as well. That will be my own solution. And I'm seeing that the impact is I'll be able to provide job for myself and for other people in order to up also, in this situation that we have. So now I'm not throwing this question at you. I'm also throwing the question to everybody listening to us. If you had the power to implement only one solution to tackle youth unemployment in Nigeria, would you invest in skill development, entrepreneurship, or reforming Nigeria's educational system? And why would your choice have the greatest impact? So, Gideon, we want to hear from you.
Okay, thank you. Although I was thinking Nikita will go first before I come. That's the second speaker that we on the call together.
Oh, okay. So we have the second speaker here. You can go ahead. Let's hear from you. Hi, Gideon. Who do you say is supposed to talk?
Veronica.
What do you say?
Veronica.
Oh, all right, Veronica. Are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Okay, so I asked the question, and you want to give a response to that?
Okay. Personally, I would choose to reform the school system because the school system is actually the main reason why we're having this debate right now. Because if the school system was ideal for this current society, we wouldn't be having a discussion like this about skills mismatch, whether you should stop going to university and pursue vocational certificates. Because honestly, it's just on our side as Africans, our education system is just a systemic failure. Our education system is our education system teaches just academics and not the other skills in it. And also, our education systems aren't really up to date. We have the graduates have knowledge that would thrive in like a 2000s economic environment, and we're in 2026. Things are moving so fast. Within the last 10 years, there's been so much technological advancements, and this technological advancements needs to be included into the new curriculum so that the newer generation can also learn these skills. You don't need to finish university, have a piece of paper that won't get you a job, and then you start paying. You spend so much money on your degree, and then you start paying more money to go get other certificates when you could have just learned everything in that one curriculum. So, like, your degree would cater for everything and would give you an added advantage in the whole job market. So, yes, I would change the education system first.
All right. Thank you. So Veronica is saying educational system is what she will try to reform in order to solve the situation of unemployment in Nigeria. So before we ask the other person, please, if you're watching us, just try to, like, subscribe to Wale University, subscribe to our channel. Let us give us that, encouragement, that motivation to continue this, right? So please click that subscription button. I mean, yeah, subscribe. Yes, thank you. So we want to listen to um, the other person, and that will be, is that Timlane or Jude?
Jude, please.
All right, Jude. So don't forget to subscribe, everyone. Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's been an awesome conversation so far. Thank you so much, our keynote speakers. Thank you, our anchors. Thank you, Wale University, and then everyone following. Thank you for being here with us this evening. So the question, what one thing would I change to, if I could do one thing to change the situation, that would be for me to create enabling entrepreneurship environment. I'll repeat that, creating enabling entrepreneurship environment And why do I choose that? Is that the development of a nation largely comes from the overall development of its people. If a nation has industrious people, the nation will tend towards being developed. And if it has people who are less industrious or don't have the opportunity to express themselves industrial wise, the overall nation will not be developed. So school is good, and I have nothing against school, though I might have some things in different discussions. But for now, it's not going to cut for us because at the end of the day, the system, before the system, the people themselves are at the heart of the matter. What I mean is, entrepreneurs are people who solve problems. Entrepreneurship is problem solving. So when we create entrepreneurship enabling environments, which I'll be defining soon, it helps people become problem solvers. And eventually every other problem gets solved down the line as time goes on. I am saying this from observation of countries like picking America, Japan, and China, who in time past had serious issues with their economy and some problems. You go back down far in history, and it's true that governments took steps towards making some reforms. However, largely the larger contribution came from the industrial ability of their people. The environment existed, but not just the environment, the people themselves took opportunities to build things, to develop systems. Picking America, for example, the when oil was going to run in America back there in the years, the people who brought oil mining were the ones that built tracks. One of them is John D. Rockefeller. They built rail tracks that was moving this oil from one country to the other. This was not the government, this was individual businesses. And then these rail tracks later, now currently, is serving as, the government innovated on them, and they are now serving as good transportation for the entire country. So a business built this, but it's serving. So when youth in Africa, in Nigeria, and Africa at large start solving problems, which is business-wise, and have a sustainable way to do it, which is why it should be entrepreneurship, it should be sustainable. The opportunity it creates is vast. It's going to affect schooling, it's going to affect other environments. And why will I say an enabling environment? Is because the issues affecting the entrepreneurship in Nigeria now is large. Procter and Gamble, a very popular utility company, moved out of Nigeria not too long ago, and it's because they could not forwardly follow the up and downward trends of our economy. So imagine what it's going to take for somebody who is just coming to survive in such a system. From the taxes to the regulations, and the major one is corruption. There's somebody who I just watched crying online. He imports from China to sell in Nigeria. Yet custom clearance always affects his products. That's the man trying to create a living for himself and then jobs for other people. But the custom who are supposed to protect him are the ones affecting his business. And we have so much issues like that all over the country. So if enabling environments are created and entrepreneurship thrives, other problems, not all, but largely other problems are going to get solved. One last point I will add is to mention that, for instance, the security problem we have in our country right now, while there's a lot of things government has to do about it, it also offers an entrepreneurship opportunity. How do I mean? If individual agencies are able to set up localized security points that would solve this problem, bring up ideas that would solve this problem, they would make money for themselves. People would tend towards such agencies. It has happened. If you could just check the information, there are private security sectors in other countries that work. They have licenses, and Nigeria has such systems too that allow for such agencies to work. And if somebody could solve that problem effectively, even if it's within a particular locality, that becomes a source of income for the person and also solves a problem, a crisis that's affecting a lot of people. So creating and enabling entrepreneurial environment for the African youth would go a long way. That's just the one thing I could do to solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jude. All right. So You, Timile, Jude, Gideon, Veronica, you've done amazingly well today. Thank you for sharing your insight with us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end of this conversation, right? But it's not ending here. We've been discussing the problems, right, for the past how many days now. We've been talking about the problems, and then we need to, create solutions for some of these problems we've identified. So the teams will also be coming up with their solutions, and they will be sharing that with us. So this conversation is not ending here. We're not just ending it here, just talking about the problems. They will be creating actionable solutions that could tackle some of the situations, some of the youth employment challenges we have in Nigeria or even in Africa at large. So it is very important that you still stay with us, you still continue this journey with us. And it's very important you follow us on all our social media channels. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube here, subscribe, follow us on LinkedIn and every other platform you can, you know, find Wali Lab, because our mentees will be sharing their solutions. And who knows, you might see one of these solutions and you might say, okay, yeah, I think this solution would work and we'll be able to get things done with the situation of Nigeria. So thank you all for listening to us, for staying till the end, and thank you for the contribution. I can see the contributions. Um, I can see the contributions in the comment section. Honestly, I I just can't read out everything due to time, right? But I can see the contributions, and thank you so much for listening to us. So I'll be handing over to Mr. Wali if he has anything to say before we end this meeting. Okay, your hand is so. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can everybody hear me well?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to add a few things to what we've been talking about ever since. And I think I should just try to give a balanced viewpoint about it. The area of skills mismatch is significantly important. And where we mentioned creating vocational trainings for graduates, I think that if anybody is a graduate, after going to school for 4 or 5 years or 6 years, thereabouts, well, it shouldn't be that time they should start looking for vocational trainings to attend. These things can be built in into the curriculum, into the 4 years, 5 years, 6 years that someone is using to learn instead of finishing after 4 years. And then the mind has already been conditioned in a kind of way that would not be really so accommodating to learn in an informal setting anymore. So for me, I believe that there is a way the whatever course anybody is studying can be designed to accommodate vocational trainings. Another thing is the issue of internship. I noticed critically that in most cases there are only very few courses that create the kind of opportunity that makes um, graduates in the years of learning to undergo some kind of experiential learning outside of the university setting. One of them is medical sciences, okay? And maybe sometimes you have people who are studying some specific courses where they do CWES and all of those things. But when we go to other disciplines, we don't normally have them. And that is a kind of short change, okay? in which case most undergraduates will have to start outsourcing by themselves to study, or to do internship on their own. That would be people who are well exposed. For some who are maybe underprivileged, and it was even a privilege for them to have gone to university at all, and they don't know how to outsource things on their own, and they start realizing it only during or after NYSC that they wasted so many years of just learning within the four walls of the school and no practical experience of such. You know, these things are part of the reasons why a large percentage of graduates today are doing what they never studied in university. Somebody who did English doing computer, maybe engineering or maybe web design and stuff like that. Okay, that's one thing. And then another thing is, I think that the maybe people generally or organizations generally should do well to maybe they used to do it before and not anymore, and it can be revived in specific areas where people who have the book knowledge, theoretical knowledge are still being groomed. They can visit these schools and let the students know, okay, these are areas where you can really work when you are graduates or when you're about graduating, so that during NYC years, instead of government just posting people to random places where their knowledge will not really fit into what they will be interested in, the graduates can maybe factor a way of being in touch with some of these organizations so that after the camping days, the posting will be done in such a way that each person's interest or areas of discipline uh, is what they are giving in terms of PPE, so that the 1 year of service will also serve as a kind of experience gathering. And then at the end of the day, regardless of, even if you are studying local government, whatever, it means that you'll be working in a kind of local government setting where you can gain experience of what interests you if you want to work in a local government environment, and so on like that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. Thank you. So we've come to the end of this. I don't want to go, but we don't have chairs. We don't have any chairs. We need to leave, right? So, just like I said, you need to follow us to, you know, see what our mentees have for us regarding the solution to this problem we have, right? So, I will be calling Dominica to give us our closing prayer. Yeah.
All right.
Dominica,
Thank
help
you.
us.
Yes, thank you. Name of the Father, Son of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for the success of today's debate. We thank you for Wali Lab. We thank you for our fellows. Thank you for our mentors. Thank you, Lord, for everything you do for us. Pray that you give us the grace to work as hard as we can. We also ask that you grant success to the remaining weeks we have for the fellowship and give us strength for each new day through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Man, thank you, Dominica. Okay, the conversation is still going on in the comment section, but then we can't address that. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. Until next time. Bye.